Hi, today we're talking about narcissism. Do you have a narcissist in your life? And if so, what can you do about it? Hi, my name is Dolly and I'm a marriage and relationship coach. And I've been working for the last 4 years with busy couples as well as individuals, helping them to rebuild their relationships and their marriages and reconnect with those they love. Today, we want to address the narcissist in your life. In a previous video, we talked about sociopaths and all the behavioral patterns that come along with being a sociopath. But I'm guessing if you're on YouTube right now and you found me through YouTube, you've already Googled all of what to look out for a narcissist. So instead of focusing on what a narcissist look like, I want to help you regain the power in the relationship with somebody who possesses the characteristics of a narcissist. All right, so number one, if this person in your life has not actually been diagnosed by a doctor as a narcissist, we're going to take out the label of them being a narcissist. But we're going to continue talking about them as in they have narcissistic tendencies or characteristics. And those can encompass selfishness, self-entitlement, self-focus, without regret, without remorse, right? These are all narcissistic tendencies or behavioral patterns. So instead, we're going to refer to those as narcissistic behaviors or tendencies. Why are we going to do that? Because the minute that somebody calls somebody a narcissist, you take all the power away from yourself and you give them the power. Now you are a victim of their narcissism. Now switch that around. Let's say you're a guy. Now what I hear guys say a lot is she's crazy. And that is so offensive to women. Women do not want to be called crazy. We might be emotional. We might be higher feelers. And so we react or we're reactors, maybe all those things. But to call a woman crazy is just super rude. And if she hasn't been diagnosed as crazy, why are you calling her crazy? But that's a term that men use. And I find more and more women are coming to me claiming that their spouses or partners are narcissists. When in reality, if they haven't been diagnosed as a narcissist, they're probably just very selfish, egotistical. So let's just say when a man says about a woman that she's crazy, what he's saying is, she's crazy. It has nothing to do with me. There's nothing I can do. She's just crazy. I didn't do it. She's crazy. And a woman, and it's the same way as if we call our partners narcissists. We're saying it's their problem. They're like this. There's nothing that can be done. It's finished. It is the way it is. And so debunking the whole labeling or stop labeling people a narcissist is the same way as stop labeling women as crazy. It's not fair to the other person, but even more than that, because when I coach individuals. It's about you. The moment that you say she's crazy or he's a narcissist, you have no power in the relationship. There's nowhere for that relationship to go because there's nothing you can do. You're washing your hands of it. It's done. And I don't want my clients to be in that position because I want them to be standing in their power. I want them to look at the other person and see the person's behavioral patterns, see the person's reaction, see the person, how they interact or their lack of remorse and go like, were they always like this? Is this how they're responding to a certain trigger? Is there something that I'm doing or that we're doing that is bringing them down this rabbit hole of maybe depression or selfishness? So instead of labeling somebody, which in reality only takes the power away from us, we give it to them and say we're victim of the situation. We want to take that back and say, I'm not a victim. I'm actually going to be everything I am, everything I was intended to be. I'm going to stand in that truth of who I am. I'm going to let that best version of myself out. And then if that person is still the way they are, you can move forward because you are standing in that power. So when I'm working with couples, the last thing I want is for them to give their power away. If a guy says she's crazy, he's saying, I have no control over her. She's just nuts. And he has absolutely no power in the outcome of how they move forward. But if he says, she could be hurting. She's in a bad place right now. Like if he starts looking at her in a different way, he is more receptive of her reactions and he is more self-reflective of his own. He can take a look at himself and say, well, when is she like this? Is there something that's going on in her personal life? Is there something going on with her family or the kids or whatever it is? You step back and you're able to see them in a different light. So when we talk about narcissists and narcissism and the behavioral tendencies, instead of labeling and putting your hands up and saying, I'm done, they're narcissist, I actually want you to embrace the power that you have. Stand back and say, truly look at them as if there's maybe something just broken. Something about them is hurting. Because of that hurt or because of that trauma or because of whatever it is, they've become resistant, they've become self-focused, they've become selfish, sometimes egotistical. Sometimes they live in a world of lies just to self-preserve. But it doesn't necessarily mean they're narcissistic. It could mean that they have some major trauma going on. But we don't get to that root. We don't get to figure them out or help them. Or people can't grow, come out of, their trauma if they're just being judged and criticized and ridiculed. If you love this person and you want to go back into love with this person, fall back in love with that person, it's that safe spot, right? Where you're free to love and free to receive love, that in love space. And if you haven't seen that video, go watch that video about creating the safe space. How can somebody who's labeled as crazy, how is she going to feel safe to let her guard down and be vulnerable if she's just being written off as crazy? How is somebody who's being called a narcissist and, they're the villain and the other is the victim, how is there a safe space? There is no safe space. So you can't be in love with that person. To summarize what we just talked about, number 1, take out the label. Number 2, stand in your own truth and power. And number 3, try to see them with different eyes, understanding that maybe it's something hurting inside of them, that they're like that. And then 4, create that safe space for them to open up and be vulnerable so that maybe they can work through it. And again, it's not your job to do this. This isn't about jobs or your responsibility or you walking on eggshells. This is about actually standing in power, standing in your truth. This is the most powerful you'll ever be, is when you are standing in that place of love and acceptance and opening that safe space where they can feel safe to be around you and share things with you. All right, so that's what my take on. And I know that a lot of people don't like it because, well, it's much easier to say she's crazy or he's a narcissist. But if you really want to move forward, and most of the people that are coming to this channel are because they actually want to make their relationships work. And this is the best way to make it work. All right, talk to you soon.